this is actually just shocking that somebody.
It's like almost chilling. It's almost beyond shocking.
Yeah, it's
chilling.
Just chilling. That's really the word. A couple of months ago on the Michael Brooks Show, we let Ezra Klein out of the gulag, where he had been sentenced for various misdeeds. Of course, metaphorically speaking to you, ultra-sensitive, touchy people out there. And because he did a good job with a sort of unbelievable level of patience in allowing Sam Harris to show his racism, his egomania, and actually the fact that despite his very calm delivery, he's apparently some type of sort of bizarre emotional wreck without any empathy or historical awareness. And Ezra Klein did a very good job at that. And so we've sort of begged off Ezra Klein. And even the whole Vox crew did a good job with explaining again, and it's depressing that this needs to be explained again, that Charles Murray is not a scientist. He's a far-right think tank gremlin. That Sam Harris is not a dispassionate podcaster and neuroscientist. He's actually extremely ideological, but not even aware of his own ideology. So kudos to Ezra. And then this tweet comes out yesterday. And this is in a time, we can put it on the screen. I'll read it. Is it on the screen now? Over the years, I've come to think of the DC Silicon Valley difference like this. The DC mindset is shaped by watching solvable problems prove to be impossible to solve. The Silicon Valley mindset is shaped by watching the impossible problems prove possible to solve. That's next. This is a thread, right? Okay. So this in a time, I mean, this is like a tweet from like 2009. This is like Obama just got elected and there's books about, why can't we have iPhone government?
This is like the second TED Talk.
This is the second TED Talk. This is Cass Sunstein talking about iPhone government. That
Or
literally
the Macron
was a
campaign.
term. The Macron campaign, I guess, although they're several years behind. They're several years behind us in France for this kind of talk, and Macron is already in the low 30s in his approval rating. So we've seen since let's just be super generous to Ezra. Let's say that people who are really ahead of the curve were already asking in the first part of the Obama administration, hey, wait a second. When are all of these tech firms going to produce any jobs? When are all of these tech firms, what's going on? Why doesn't Apple pay any taxes? Why is the money all laundered or held in a, Irish corporation? What about, what about our privacy? These companies obviously have no regard for any type of privacy in any way, shape, or form. They're essentially giant data collection agencies masquerading as picture sharing platforms. How do people actually make a living on these things? And this is all the questions that were started to be asked still in a time where undoubtedly, and everybody who's watching this, all of like the Musk cult people are going to be like, yeah, what has Silicon Valley ever done? Says the people broadcasting on YouTube through computers. Yes, undoubtedly, these companies took a platform and a technology that was built on public and government investment, and they turned it into a variety of both hardware and software, which have changed how we produce, how we engage in the economy, and in some incredibly selected examples, have given opportunities for people to have cool, fun careers. Thank you very much. Structurally, they have massively accelerated inequality. They have sort of privatized so many gains at such a disproportionate net to public investment that probably this is going to be the most we've ever seen in human history. And by 2014, there was enough people in sort of smart policy circles asking the questions. What about these monopolies? What about the inequality? What about the fact that now after the sort of base engines of change of personal computing, of smartphones and all of these other economies, all these companies are doing now is essentially sort of sucking up investor money and creating different ways for people to get pizza on their phones. What are they doing? And then meanwhile, and companies like Uber are really changing things by literally breaking labor laws across the country in bets that, we'll just retroactively sort of pay off politicians after we're profitable enough from literally breaking the law. And by 2018, when bow tie Nazi fascist is on TV talking about the abuses of Amazon, Ezra Klein is still doing this? This is the type of mindset that is terrifying, because the last thing I'll say about this, we're not in some delusion about some like radical left fascist alliance to fucking end war and stop Amazon. We're not into that dumb delusional shit. We understand who Trump is. We understand who the far right is. We understand that their agenda is antithetical to everything we value and everything we care about. But at some point, we are going to need to have people who are our presumptive allies, even just functionally speaking, to at the very least have some basic understanding of how the world works, even if our solutions are different. And Ezra Klein still coming out with this stuff on September 10th, 2018 is chilling, to say the least.
Yeah, I also want him to be a little more specific about what problems Silicon Valley is solving. Right? Because what they see as problems, we might see as, I don't know, workers, the regulatory state. Like, that seems to be the type of problem that they're the best at solving.
And, like, they're really good at doing pointless things to get your attention. Like,
right.
The attention economy is what drives most of, like, the consumer tech side of things. And then you have the giant monopolies, which is like, oh, you got a startup that you're made. If you have a successful startup, what that means is you sold it to one of the big four.
You got acquired by one of the big four. Exactly.
And I think that's the play that he's making right now, is saying, hey, Vox needs money.